I'm just going to go ahead and get started. If you don't know who I am, my name is Coach Lisa with the Running University, founder of the Running University and the True Tribe team. And oh, hi, Jerry. Excellent. Okay, you just joined us today in the tribe. So good to, I guess, virtually meet you. I'm still not really meeting you, but I just thought, because what I do in the tribe and what I do with my training programs and my Rewrite Your Story program is I like to have things themed out. Oh, wow, from Australia. That's amazing. Cool. Well, thanks for listening in from Australia. I love that. Where is everybody else from? Might as well just put that in the chat too so we could get to know each other. But yeah, I love helping women, especially over 50, right? Like I say over 50 because that's where I'm at. I turned 54 last year, and I love helping women over 50 find the joy in walking and running. I think, whether you're a walker or you're a runner, there's a lot of things that go into it. And I think as we age, whether you're already one or you want to become one, especially a runner, there's a lot of concerns around that as we get older. And so I have just found I started running in my late 30s. And as I've aged, I've started working with ladies who are older. And I've had women over 60 years old do their first ultra marathon. So I feel like I've got this pretty nailed down as far as the things that I love to help women with, just to really learn how to make this an enjoyable habit, something that you can do for your entire life. Because let's face it, we all know how important it is to take care of ourselves. Physically, moving is so important, especially as we're aging. It helps keep us young. And then there's all these different pieces that go with it. So what I've come up with is what I call my 6 pillars, which kind of sounds a little cheesy, but I have 6 pillars that I think really help me train and help women find the joy in walking and running. And we're going to talk about one of them today, but just to give you a little holistic view of what they are. And I do have some YouTube videos about those. You could find the playlist on that, and not really in any particular order. Mindset, which is what we're going to talk about here in a few minutes, and mindfulness are 2 really big ones. Then learning technique. I find, especially as we're aging, that learning technique is so important because it does really help minimize the impact on our bodies. Then we have training. So not just technique, but also, how do you train, even if maybe you don't want to do a race, but how do you train? How do you keep up with a plan that can keep you healthy and just keep you moving? And also strength training. So there's other elements that go into walking and running that really help just make it an enjoyable practice. Stretching, mobility, that type of stuff. And then, so there's the M's, the T's, and then the C's, which I didn't really plan out that way, but that's consistency, which is really important. And then community, which is my big thing. Community is my jam. I love community. That's what the True Tribe is about. I'm part of many communities. I'm a Trail Sister leader, so that's a community I belong to. But I just love community, and it's so important, again, especially as we're getting older. If you've ever heard of the Blue Zones, there's a great Netflix documentary on that, but they really talk about how important community is to help us stay younger. And so that's why I love community. So I kind of blend these all together. And what I do in the tribe is I have themes for every month. I love theming things because then it helps me come up with good content. And January was setting intentions, kind of your basic January theme, I guess. I try to stay away from the New Year resolution thing. Today's the last day of February, was love your body, love your journey. Because, I think also as aging women, again, learning to love our bodies and love our journeys, our unique journeys. Just getting done with that. We had a self-love challenge in the True Tribe. And now we're heading into March, and the theme, just because it goes with the M's, and mind over miles is my theme for the month. So it's the theme in the tribe and in the Rewrite Your Story, where we dig really deeper into the theme. But I thought I would pick what I'm going to do every week in that and talk about a few little tips for each one of those that hopefully will help you out. So I'm going to start out with the first thing that we're going to cover in week 1 is going to be training your brain for motivation. And I am curious if you want to answer this question, if you think that motivation, so if you want to respond with an A, motivation comes first, or does action come first? And that would be the B response. So I'll just give it a second here. See if anybody wants to play and answer that question. So A is motivation coming first, and B would be action coming first. B, okay, Andy, B. And if you're on my newsletter, I think I might have put this in my newsletter already, so you might already have the answer. But I think a lot of times we get into the space and we feel like we need that motivation first to get us moving. But a lot of times you could be motivated, but really once you take action, that's really when the ball starts rolling. So it's really just taking that first step and taking action. And I was watching a show last night randomly. This is a random topic, but it really kind of helped this. I just connected this, and it was somebody who had been sober for X amount of days, and by mistake they had an alcoholic beverage, and they were just really upset. And when you think about when you take action on something, so they had took action on not drinking for I was maybe it was 30 days, and then the bartender gave them a drink that they didn't realize had alcohol. They were so upset because it broke that. Right. So it's really important that that the whole idea of taking action. Now, I will preface this wasn't part of what I wanted to talk about, but just to put it out there, your why is very important to leading you to take action, and the motivation then will come along with this. So I talk a lot about finding your why when I'm training people for races, but even if you want to make walking and running a habit, then you want to make sure that you really know why it is, like what is really going to get you out the door. And I'll just say usually the canned response is, I want to lose weight. I'm just going to throw that out there. We don't talk about weight loss in the True Tribe. Are there people trying to lose weight? Yes. But we don't talk about it because it's just not something that we focus on. Again, we're talking about joy. We're talking about making this a process that we want to keep doing. And I don't know about you guys. I've done the weight loss thing a bazillion times. I've done the cabbage soup diet, all of those things. So, but your why being, I recently have been playing around with my why because a lot of times I just have a race, and that's how I stay active, is training for races is usually my why. But when I don't have that why, what keeps me going? And I will say my mental health is a huge thing. And so what I tell people is find the why and then take the action. So a couple of tips on the idea of training your brain for motivation, which was the topic. I'm just going to check the comments here real quick. I just know from long experience that information is a way to never get started. Yes, that is correct from Andy. I totally agree with that. It is. Oh, let's see. I'm going to move up a little bit higher. Again, I'm not in my normal chair and my normal stuff, so I'm just figuring that out. And I love that I can put these comments up here real quick. So, but a couple of the things that I would recommend for that is really, I'm going to call this like the activation habit or habit stacking. I don't know if you read Atomic Habits, or habit stacking is kind of a common thing out there, but to associate your getting out the door for your walk or your run with another habit. So, the idea could be that, you put your shoes on, your running shoes on, or your walking shoes, whatever. I talk about them interchangeably. That you put them on before you brush your teeth. So brushing your teeth is a habit that, well, hopefully you do it every day, but a habit that you do every day, right? And then if you do put your shoes on first, so then you start habit stacking, and it just becomes something that you start doing. So you put your shoes on, you brush your teeth, and then you're out the door. So trying to find a way to kind of activate your habit is one thing that I like to talk about. And also, this whole idea of, sometimes we're like, oh, I just don't feel like it. Oh my God, that happened to me several times this week. It's been 84. It was 84 the other day. It was hot by the time I got out. And I really didn't feel like it. But if you just say, I don't feel like it, so I'll just start. Or my other favorite one, and if you've been around me for a while, I've even done a YouTube video on this, is some is better than none. So I live in an apartment complex, and I have like a little, a big parking lot that I can walk around. So if I'm not into it, I'll just grab my stuff and I just say, I'm just going to go out and walk one loop around the parking lot. And once you get moving, my other tip is start focusing on how it feels. So now get your head out of the game, so you're not like, oh, I don't feel like it, or oh my God, I have all this work to do at home, because that's usually my problem. But really start thinking about how it's feeling and get your senses into that as well. So how does it feel? What are you seeing? What are you smelling? Are you in nature? Does it feel good to just get some fresh air? So those are my couple of tips that I have for that particular one. The next one we're going to talk about is, and if you guys have any questions about anything specifically, feel free to put them in the comments, because then I'll be able to answer them for you, is overcoming mental blocks. Yes, I don't feel like it, so I'll just start. Thank you. I appreciate that. You love that. Yes, it is exactly. And I'm all about body positivity. Body positivity is so important, which is again why we don't talk about weight loss in the True Tribe. We focus on all the amazing things our bodies can do. And as a matter of fact, totally random, but I just remembered because I started a private podcast for my Rewrite Your Running Story, they're like 2 to 4 minute audio bites that basically get you out the door. So they're like meditations, but they're little, yeah, they're little mini audio bite meditations for walking or running. But I have 4 free ones that I put, they're actually in the description of this video. I forgot I did that because, and it's celebrate your body. So it's 4 little mini meditations that talks about celebrating your body. And that's really huge from us. So thank you for saying that, Andy. So talking about overcoming mental roadblocks, and this pairs in with mindfulness. That's why I think mindfulness is very important and one of the 6 pillars. I started meditating after I started chi running and chi walking, and becoming more mindful really kind of helps slow my brain down, and I start responding instead of reacting to things. And also I can start recognizing when my mind starts going down the rabbit hole from a mental perspective. One thing I did forget to say when I started this is how working on your mindset is like training your muscle. It's like another muscle that we need to practice. So, we focus on training our bodies physically, but training your mindset. So running is a great way to train your mindset because you are put in situations that challenge you, right? And well, that's why we're here talking about this. So one of the tips I have for you is to name your inner critic. Right. So, if you're out on a walk or whatever, and you have your inner critic that's telling you you're too slow, right? Like maybe that's something that, I'm over it. I don't really worry about being too slow because I just enjoy what I'm doing. But it took a lot of practice to get to this point. But to name your inner critic so that when you start having these thoughts, and then you can recognize these thoughts, then, it could be, lame Lisa might be the one. I don't know. I literally just came up with that, like Debbie Downer. I know there's some funny Saturday Night Live skit on this. Isn't it Debbie Downer? I think so. I can't remember. But anyway, like name your inner critic so that you could talk to that person as if it's somebody else, and just tell them to go away, basically. Like, thank you, lame Lisa, for telling me that I'm slow, but you know what? I am out here enjoying my walk today, so it's okay. So naming your inner critic could be a quick little tip. And then also the idea of shrinking the problem. Shrink the problem. So maybe you're training for a race and you have to go out for an hour, walk, run, whatever, and you don't feel like it. So you have your lame Lisa say, okay, lame Lisa, maybe you don't have to go out for the whole hour, but let's shrink the problem. And maybe you just get out for 10 minutes. So again, same idea with the whole some is better than none. But sometimes I think we get in our heads and we overthink things. Anybody an overthinker? I've gotten better since I've been meditating, but I am an overthinker. And so just with that idea of shrinking the problem, I get, okay, maybe I'm not going to do an hour, but I'm going to get out for 10 minutes. And 10 minutes is good. And again, you'll probably be out there, you'll be feeling good. And before you know it, you've got your hour in. Yes. So, all right, that's going to be our focus in week 2. And in week 3, breaking free from comparisons. Okay. Like I know that I've done this, whether you're comparing yourself to other people, you see them on social media and, maybe it's somebody who's your age, but, they're way faster. So we start comparing ourselves to other people or our younger selves, right? And so one little tip, first of all, I always say, it is your story. That's why I wrote the program, Rewrite Your Story, because you're writing your own walking, your own running story. It's your journey. And it is literally yours to create, and it can change, every day. You can make changes to it, write new chapters. So it took a while for me to get into the space, but it really does help a lot. So the first thing I would do is instead of thinking about your past self, think about what your future self would want you to do. That whole idea of like thanking your past self or your future self. So, if you know that you've decided you want to get out because walking is good for you and you want to do it 4 days a week, and in one of those days where you don't want to, and I will be the first to say, sometimes you're not into it. And if you've tried all of these and they don't work and you just decide not to go out, It's okay. It's one day, right? So give yourself the grace. Again, all about this idea of being kind to ourselves. We need to be kind to ourselves, not beat ourselves up for not doing things or talking bad to ourselves. But when you start thinking about your future self, and you know your future self, when you write your why and you start digging into your why, start thinking about your future self and what would your future self, what's happening, what does she want, right? And if you know that you want to be consistent with walking 4 days a week because it feels good, then think about what your future self would tell you. So that's one little tip right there for that one. And then last but not least, oh, we're getting down. Huh? I could talk longer. If you guys have questions, feel free to ask questions. Trusting the process, and it's progress over perfection always. I never focus on perfection. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't in my walking and running. I probably do in other areas of my life, but I've learned in my walking and running that progress makes progress. So that's what I do, is practice makes progress, is really what one of my favorite phrases is. And I do refer to that phrase when I'm talking about chi running and practicing form focuses. And that's actually another whole piece to the Rewrite Your Story program, is one of those four audios is a technique audio. I'll talk a little bit about that in a little bit. But, and again, you've heard me say this if you follow me, tracking and celebrating every single win. I mean, it sounds, I know sometimes it can get old, but every Friday in the tribe, I called it Fired Up Friday. And I'm like, well, what are you fired up about? What wins did you have? And if somebody tells me they didn't have a win, I'll call BS on them. And there has to be a win. You can find so many wins in one day. Does it have to be that, you know, you ran a marathon? No, I think sometimes in our brains, again, we start thinking about these big things and we overthink them. Like getting out for that 5-minute walk instead of the 30 minutes, that's still a win. So instead of focusing on the fact that you didn't do the full amount, then still celebrate the fact that you still showed up for yourself, right? And that's really what we need to focus on. And then really, oh God, I still struggle with this. And I try to catch myself when I do it, but that whole all or nothing mentality. I can't tell you how many times I would start with the diet on Monday. And again, you know, if you know what I'm talking about, you know, yeah, I know what I'm talking about. Feel free to share that there. But start on Monday, you're doing really good for 2 or 3, 4 days. And all of a sudden you're getting close to the weekend, and then all hell breaks loose. You're not eating really well. You're not doing well. And then all of a sudden, excuse me, you know, here you are and I'm going to start back up on Monday. So it's that whole all or nothing. And it just doesn't have to be that way. Okay. Like it's all about balance at the end of the day. And that's why consistency for me is really important. I talk about this in one of my most recent videos when I talk about, I think the title was Walking 10 Minutes, Why Walking 10 Minutes is Better Than Walking 50 Minutes. And I know most people would say, well, why wouldn't 50 minutes be? But for the sake of building a consistent habit, then getting out more frequently is going to help you build the habit. So making sure you get out for 10 minutes every day versus going out once for 50 minutes, you're going to be much more likely to stick to your habit. I'm checking the comments again real quick here. From Andy, I also learned to embrace, actually, I'll put this up here so we could read it. It might cover me because it's long, but that's okay. I've also learned to embrace the idea that regression can be part of progress because I needed to learn a different way. Ooh, I love this, that the plan I had wasn't going to work for me, so not to get too discouraged. Love that. That is gold. Yes. And again, because it's your journey, it's different. And when you find a different way, then yes. I totally love that. Thank you so much for sharing that, Andy. So those are just some of the tips that I wanted to throw out and share with you. And I did also put down in the description. So our March challenge, which is Mind Over Miles, is, ooh, look at the sun's hitting me. I was trying to not let that happen, but we'll see what happens here. And so basically what it is I have this Rewrite Your Story program that I started in January, and I have several ladies that are doing it. And part of the challenge is I have this private podcast, and there's 4 mini audios that have to do with those themes, right? So like today I recorded the ones that are going to go out for next week, and I'm going to pop them in as soon as I get done with this. And I have basically Excuse me. So the theme, for example, like we were talking about in week number 1, training your brain for motivation, that's the theme for week 1. So I have one little mini audio that's a self-reflection question. So I have a question, I talk a little bit about it. Again, it's a little meditative, but meant for movement. So walking, running, they're super short. They're really meant to get you out the door and then hopefully keep you out the door. And they're just food for thought, but just get you thinking, and they're positive, so they make you feel good. Then another one that I do is I have a motivational quote about that same theme. So a motivational quote about that theme. And then the third one is a mantra. So I have a mantra. And then the fourth one is a technique tip. So what happens is with the technique tip, I've basically I started in January, so I'm kind of building on these, but I usually try to do a little summary. So those are starting to get just a wee bit longer. But again, I think anywhere from 2 to 5 to 6 minutes, these little audio clips are. And again, if you go down into the description, you can get the free ones if you just want to check them out. And then I also have the link to the description in the for the challenge. So, in a matter of fact, Jerry, I don't know if you're still paying attention or if you're still here, because I can't tell. I just see that there's 3 viewers unless you're commenting. I do need to chat with you because you did not use the coupon code. So you're actually getting 75% off because you paid full price. So what I just decided to do, because I do challenges in my tribe every month, is I just decided to combine everything together because mindset is such an important topic. So I thought I'd invite the tribe. So the tribe is coming in and they're going to play the challenge. Those who want to, it's not a mandatory thing for people to do, but normally the Rewrite Your Story program is $99 a month, because Monday we're doing a goal setting session. So you actually get time with me, 2 calls, and then we do a group coaching call. Shoot, I can't remember when it is. It'll be the middle of March, likely. So so you heard, Jerry, I see that you just commented. You heard what I just said. So we'll talk offline after, this weekend or whatever. But I'll make sure you'll get a refund for that. So yeah, that's all in there. If you have any questions about that, just let me know while you're here. But yeah, it's just something I feel very strongly about, again, finding joy. And so what these prompts are meant to do is just give you food for thought, and then just digging deeper on your own. So while you finish your walk and you're thinking about the self-reflection question, I should have actually had them. You know what? Maybe I did. I thought I might have had them in front of me, but I'm not in my normal spot. So that's why. Let's see. I might be able to. I should have had them available. Well, that's okay. I really do want to get them though. So just give me a quick second. I appreciate you guys just hanging while I'm trying to figure this out. Let's see. I always try to be. And if you have any questions, make sure to put those down there in the, nope, that's not going to work. All right. I know where I can go. I'm just going to go into the tribe from my phone because that's like the easiest thing to do. And to let you know, because I do have the first week. It's not up yet because I don't have the meditations loaded in there, but I'm going to make that available to people who are starting. And there's an accountability. So basically what happens, the whole idea with the program is to help people rewrite their story and make walking and running a habit if you don't train for races. Because I feel racing or attending events, because I'm never really racing, attending events is really what keeps me going and keeps me active, but everybody's not always doing events. So I think it's really good to have other ways to stay motivated. So these were kind of meant to, once I started meditating myself, I love doing that. So it's kind of like combining going out, focusing on yourself, making this more of a practice where you're actually just not working on your body physically, but you're also growing. One of my taglines for the True Tribe is that we learn together, we learn together, train together, and we grow together. And so that's kind of just basically the seriously, where is my, why can I not see it? Am I logged in as my wrong person? No, it should be here. I hid it for myself. How funny is that? Oh my goodness. All right, going back into the Google Drive from my phone because it's not coming up on my laptop. Oh my gosh, this is one of those embarrassing things where they tell you to be prepared. I am a Toastmaster, right? Where can I find your podcast? Okay, it's actually not a public podcast. So I know that I have your information now, so I will send it to you. Okay, Andy, well, let me see if I can find the link because right now, so if you actually download the ones in the description, you'll I'll get your info, and then the idea really is, and I could send you the option. If you join the Mind for Miles challenge for the $25, you're going to get access to the podcast as well as the last 2 months. So you'll actually also get, so it's 4 times 4, so there's 16 audios. And now the sun's in a funny place right now. Dang it, it's starting to set over here. I knew this was going to happen, but it's okay because we're close to the end. So yes, let me, oh my gosh, drive. And at this point, it probably, so say for example, last month, our theme was love your body, love your journey. And so that's what the meditations are about. And again, each week I get a little deeper. Maybe I'm just going to go back to February because I can see February. I'm having all kinds of technical problems today, you guys, of course. But let me just say, so for example, I'm just going to pick one month in, and this is the one that you get for your, so I don't want to give you that one because you're if you download the free ones, then you'll already get that. So again, you'll get it for free as part of the program. And let's see. So the question was, and this was going to part of the meditation, is how is your journey uniquely yours and what makes it beautiful? So again, you're out on your walk, you're thinking about these things, you're pondering over it. I'm giving you some things to think about along the way. So, and then the quote was, don't compare your beginning to someone else's middle. So again, then it's 2 to 5 minutes of that. And then you go out, and again, you can listen to one a day. You can listen to all 4 of them in one day. There's just a lot of opportunities, and they're just short because I listen to podcasts, but I don't like listening to long things. And then the mantra was, I embrace my path, knowing it's perfectly designed for me. And then the technique was lead with your upper body and your center, feet will follow. So basically, again, with the mind over miles, if you join the program, I mean, it's a really, really good deal because the tribe usually costs $24.99. So you're getting it for that. Plus you get tribe access. And then plus you get the podcast for January and February, plus all the ones I'll drop for March. So yeah, that's basically it. I am so excited. I know it looks like there were a couple other people on who have not said hello, and that's totally fine if you want to remain anonymous. But I did put all the stuff is in the description already. The sun is funny. So yeah, I'm so glad you guys were here. It's 4:30. My time is up. And again, thank you all so much for being here. If you have any questions, Lisa at the Running University is how you can get a hold of me via my email. And this video is going to become a YouTube video once YouTube does whatever it needs to do with it. And I probably have to edit some of the front of this too. So, all right. Yeah, go check the links. They're in the description. And Grant, thank you guys all so much for being here. Thank you for sharing your experiences. I'm all about that. That's what community is all about for me. And that's what we do in the tribe is, I'll ask a question and everybody's sharing their experiences. We're mostly all women over 50. So there's a lot of understanding each other because we're going through a lot of the same things, whether it's menopause or empty nesting or aging parents. So there's just a lot of that sharing of experiences because we're kind of all doing the same thing and we're all trying to stay sane. And that's what moving does for us and spending time together. So yes, thank you all so much for coming and have a wonderful Friday evening.